so we're here to debut this book for you all, and indeed to sell you some books. Our hardcover edition, this one I don't have on handy, but many of you have seen it, it's for sale up front, is a limited edition of 100 copies. And each one is numbered, and we will certainly sign it for you if you so care. These are on sale today for $50. Now I want to say in support of such a high price, and I want to, we've sold half of these already, we had 100, we sold over 50, maybe 60, we maybe have 40 of these left. And we made the trade paperback edition is a print on demand for everybody, and we recommend that you'll get this one. But as far as the hardcover edition is concerned, we built it as an investment for book collectors, okay? Because book collectors collect hardcovers, they don't care about paperbacks, okay? And in support of that, I don't know how many of you have heard of Daniel J.H. Levack and his PKD bibliography dated 1982, which was the first Philip K. Dick bibliography, which had little black and white photographs in it, some book images, some foreign editions, some secondary editions, and some short story bibliographic notes, okay? This was the first one, and we have referenced it heavily in here. And right now, the first hardcover edition of Levack's bibliography, I believe it's an edition of maybe 1,100 or 1,500. And it's now on sale online at valuations $200, $300, $400. So our hardcover copy is an investment for you all, okay? We did it as an investment, and soon I will hand you over to Henri, and he will talk about how we did it. Okay, well, here we go. I should now talk briefly about why we did this bibliography before giving you the ending. Okay, for years, since about 1993, and I just talked about this upstairs when I published for Dickheads Only, I've been collecting Philip K. Dick books, and back in those days, in 1993, there was no internet to speak of, and the fans from all over the world would send me black and white Xerox copies of all these editions. I remember seeing the Cosmic Puppets in some fancy edition. Oh man, I got to have that book, but I had the black and white edition, and I included it in the zine and sent it out. More books came our way, and I started collecting the bibliographic data, say 1993, and over the years, I've been collecting bibliographic data and cover images, and now have rough bibliographies in 26 languages. Okay, and now I discovered Henri's website and the quality of the images. The comprehensiveness of all of his images made me contact Henri after the 2010 festival. I contacted Henri in November, and I proposed, let's get together and produce a Philip K. Dick bibliography. Henri has also been collecting Philip Dick books, and his Philip K. Dick bookshelf, pkdickbooks.com, is a prime resource for all of us interested in Philip K. Dick editions. So we got together. So between us, we have 50 years of bibliographic knowledge of Philip K. Dick editions around the world. Okay, now, so me and Henri, like many of you out here, is a doctor, a doctor of philosophy, and he's a molecular biochemist or something like that. It's not a writer like that. But anyway, he's a doctor, and I mean, I'm a factory worker. I have no degrees other than technical ones. So me and Henri are complete opposite spectrums of life, in a sense. Henri's a doctor. I'm a factory worker. So there's quite a gulf between us there. Henri is used to directing teams where they plan this out, they plot it all out, and it's all timelined, and it's all boom, 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 and balanced and budgeted and all that. And me, I'm just used to doing the damn thing, okay? And getting it done. So between the two of us, we got it done. And now I'm going to hand you over to Henri, and Henri will tell you some about how we did it.
Thank you, Dave. So I'd like for us to thank David Gerald for inviting us today to talk and for organizing such a great festival. So as David said, this was another project by David, and if you attended his previous talk, he mentioned the different projects he's been involved over the years, between an FDO for Dickheads Only newsletter, the Pink Bean book, and organizing the previous festival. So I was pretty honored that David asked me to collaborate with him on this bibliography. So, as we said, it's this bibliography started. I contacted me because of my website at pkbook.com, which I developed over the past 12 years. And Precious Artifacts started with this website. So I'd like to, prior to Precious Artifacts, we had Precious Artifacts. We had access to two printed bibliography, and you probably all know the Daniel Lebac's bibliography, which is now 30 years old, and Galactic Central, the Stevenson bibliography, which was last updated in 1995. So there was a big gap to fill, and that's what we try to do with Precious Artifacts. So I'd like just to position a little bit our book compared to these two bibliographies, which, as we indicate in the book, they serve as a basis for our bibliography. So I personally do not own the Lebac's bibliography, so I haven't seen it before doing Precious Artifacts. I did it without any knowledge of what was in this bibliography, but Dave has it, and we use it as a reference, as you can see in the Precious Artifacts. So that is only. So when we didn't have access to the book, we used Lebac's descriptions of the book. Except from one instance where I did not really agree with the description. I thought it was kind of vague, and this is for A Handful of Darkness. I thought his description was vague and based on third-party information, not direct information that he had. So I rewrote this one based on the information I got from my friend's collector. There's also the Galactic Central has a number of editions which are listed and kind of vague. They have a question mark, and it's not very clear. And if I haven't seen any image that could match that reference over the past 12 years, I decided not to include it in Precious Artifacts. So Precious Artifacts is not exactly the same as the Lebac or Galactic Central.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's in color.
Yeah. So yeah, our goal was to produce a color bibliography and to show a picture from every single book that's mentioned in the bibliography. And we managed to achieve this almost completely. There are only a few editions that didn't make, for which we didn't put a picture just because of space constraint. So we left out a number of reprints of some paperback editions. But otherwise, we have a picture for every book that's mentioned, and this is close to 600 books. So we, of course, the only options we had was to self-publish. We didn't even try to find someone to finance this book. But today it's fairly easy to self-publish. All you need is a title, and you get an ISBN number. Then you upload two PDF files, one for the cover and one for the content on the website, and a week later your book is on Amazon. And 2 weeks later it's all over the world, so it's fairly easy to, the publishing process is very easy. But as I said yesterday, between fast, yeah, it's easy to publish, but it's also one drawback. It's kind of expensive to publish on demand. And even if you cut your profits to almost zero, you still have a book that's quite expensive.
Yeah, let me interject something there, because when you go on Amazon.com, you publish a book, Amazon immediately demands a 50% discount. So if you want to make any money on a book, well, you better take that into account, or you'll be paying Amazon to sell the thing for you. Okay, so I just want to interject that.
Yeah, so you have to set a, if you don't, if you cut your profit margin, you may be losing money on the book. So, and trying to publish, as we said, as Dave said, we wanted to publish a hardcover because as book collectors we know that hardcovers have more value, but it was just too prohibitive to do this using print on demand. To print publish a book with a color cover and color images inside and hardcover would would end up costing $100 on Amazon to do it. So we decided to use independent publishers, and here we have the problem that you have to find someone who is willing to print small quantities of the book, and then I could find someone, well, the minimum order was 25 books, and the price was much reduced. And, but the problem here is that you have to invest some money and you may be left holding the bag after if you don't sell them all. And this is way more complicated than just uploading 2 files on a website and have it on Amazon next day. So it took a while, and it's hard to work actually with someone that's on halfway across the country. So usually to publish a book with so many images, you should actually send someone to be there when you're printing the book and make sure that everything is printed correctly. And of course we couldn't do that, so we had to do quite a few back and forth between the printer and us until we got it right.
We went through several proofs, didn't we?
Yeah. So now we have that book, and we've seen it. We like it.
So let me tell you something about the book. Besides the bibliographic images on all these novels and omnibuses and collections, is we have essays in here too. We have essays on collecting, how you judge conditions of books, on signed Philip K. Dick editions, a brief biography of Philip Dick, and introductory essays by both Henri and me. And in the back, Frank Hollander has written a quick collector's guide. He's right here. He's a well-known, famous collector. Got a hell of a lot more books than I got. And a chronology and references and all kinds of stuff that bookends the actual bibliography. Okay, I just want to say that because here we are today. I don't know if any of you have gone and bought any books which you would like to have evaluated, but I want to do a little demonstration here. Okay. I was at the coming in from Denver the other day, and at the Denver library, not the Denver library, the Denver airport, I found they had a few Philip Dick books. I bought this this Dr. Futurity, which is a vintage edition. I'm not sure which one it is. See how old it is. Just a second. Okay, it looks like the 3rd vintage edition. Not sure what year. So anyway, it cost me what? $12, $13. I bought this brand new Philip K. Dick book. I want you to imagine, if you will, this is not a vintage Dr. Futurity. Imagine it's a 1st edition, A Maze of Death, hardcover, okay? Here you are. Here's what I did with this book. I had my little roll-around black luggage bag, you know, we all have them at the airport, and they put it in the bag, and I hung the book in the bag over the handle, lugged it all over the plane, onto the airplane, and when I got here to San Francisco, I noticed there's a little dent in the cover, okay? So this book was bought new, and this is I'm talking about collectible copies here. Remember, this is a hardcover, Maze of Death. This was a new book. I bought it new, but that little dent in it is no longer new. It is now near fine, okay? So the collector's edition, the collector's value of this 1st edition hardcover Maze of Death is just gone from new to near fine. Okay, so here I am. Here am I, the typical collector. I get this book. I go home and I want to read it, so I look at it. So the first thing I do when I get a book, or I used to, I no longer do this. Here it is. Did I shut this off? Did I sign my name? This is my book. I'm going to sign my name, this sucker. And I'll date it too. 2012. Yeah, that's my book. I'm going to flick through. Oh, wow, I'm going to check this shit out. Oh, wow, look at this. At sunset, he returned to the ship. Before entering it, he paused, taking the last look behind him. Better this, the night falling obscuring the plain. He could imagine animals stirring. Night insects appeared. Wow, what a passage. I've got to make a note there. Oh, I make up a dog here too, just as I can hang on. Well, this now near fine book has been reduced by me messing with it to very good, okay? Possibly fine. What do you think, Frank? So here we have this new book, which I've written in it, and I've dog-eared it, and Oh, excuse me. I just sneezed in. So, well, but still, it looks good. It's all square, it's not bared up or nothing. But being an avid book collector, my first edition, Amazing Death, which in new condition was worth about $10,000, which I've reduced to very good, and now I'm going to go, man, this is great. Now look at it. Okay? The thing is fanned out. The spine is cut. I dropped it on the table, I chipped the corners. I banged it around. Oh shit. I've reduced this brand new book now from new to very good. It'll become a reading copy once I get my greasy fingerprints all over it. I decided when I go home, I'm going to put it in my back pocket. And I'm going to put it out again later. Oh,
give you $2 right now.
So here it is, man. What I'm getting at, and we have essays covering this in Precious Artifacts, is if you want to collect books and you have to handle them correctly. The first mistake I did was not putting it inside my suitcase, letting it bang around on the thing. Of course, you go off those airplane ramps and your suitcase slips out of your hand and bangs on the ground. Well, shit, that's how I got a thing. So, yeah, I totally destroyed this book. You can do it in 5 minutes. So, book condition for collectors is paramount. Can you hear me? As all collectors know. And if it was a hardcover edition of Amazing Death with dust jacket, the dust jacket is equal condition, is almost as important as the book condition. So if I had say a $4,000 first edition Maze of Death in near fine condition, give it $4,000, okay? If it didn't have a dust jacket on it, it'd be worth probably about $1,000. Okay, if the dust jacket, normally bibliophiles will classify the book in terms of its dust jacket and in terms of the book itself. So this is a Maze of Death hardcover with dust jacket will be described as very or near fine book in very good dust jacket, because dust jacket takes all the attention, okay? And condition and scarcity is what determine the value of anything in this world, certainly books. So we all know that A Maze of Death is scarce in its first edition, probably one of the most scarce Philip K. Dick editions out there. And I don't want any of y'all, I mean, we have our book here, Precious Artifacts, the first hardcover edition of 100. You do what I just did to this here Dr. Futurity. Your book, which may be worth $200 in a couple of years, is going to be worth diddly squat. Okay? So treat your books with respect and with care. Okay, thank you. First edition, Glance, Man in Hardcastle. Well, look at that spine cover. We're going to evaluate this here book. Now the dust jacket's all ripped up on the top here. It's all sort of scuzzy looking. There's some stains on it. On these broke out. Of course, the nickel's gone. Put it all together. And it's also an ex-library edition. There's the library, the little brown library ticket thingy in it.
And a stamp on the top edge too.
And a stamp on the top edge, exactly. And here's a little card. Nobody ever took this book out of the library. That's usually a good sign. And there's the barcode that supersedes the old stamping that they used to have. So this book here, well, look at the spine. I mean, this book is, we couldn't even call this very good. This is a good condition book. Good condition books are generally not collectible unless they're very scarce. It wouldn't take much to turn this into an ex-library reading copy. This was not the first edition from UK.
Yeah.
It is. So
hardcover. Hardcover.
Yeah.
The first UK edition was the paperback.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but this maybe in better condition would be worth a few $100. In its regular condition, maybe lucky at $50. Okay. So let's look at something else. This is the first edition, The Crack in Space. It's a paperback original, Ace Books, I'm thinking 1963, or I can't recall offhand. So this is in a little plastic bag. It's obviously been taken care of. The spine is straight. There's a little browning, a little foxing, as they call it. A few stains. And there's a little bit where somebody maybe stuck a sticker on the top cover here, and somebody else pulled it off and took some of the cover image with it. So this book is really, it's damn near fine, but we can't call it near fine because of that tear right there. So this is a very good condition book. This book, being the first edition paperback original of The Crack in Space, is probably, I doubt you could ever get more than $100 out of it, okay? Maybe this is a $50, $60 book in this condition. One in pristine condition, you might get $100, okay? Because paperbacks are generally not collectible by book collectors. Book collectors like hardcover editions. This goes back to Gutenberg. They've been collecting hardcover editions forever. And they like hardcover first editions. They're not interested in first edition paperbacks. So
You can't do anything about the acid paper, though. That's going to just go.
no, there's nothing we can do about the browning or the foxing. And sometimes you'll find in an old book like this, as soon as you open it, it sort of crumbles it down the spine, and the spine comes away, the pages will fall out. I found a good way to fix that is you get those little glue sticks you had as a child, and you give the kids you can just run a little bead down the edge, stick it all together, lay it on the desk, get your copy of the exegesis, sit it on the desk, hold it all together. The exegesis does have its uses. We can go more on that. Oh, here we have it. I'll let Henri take over on these particular editions. All right, Henri wants me to do it. This is a first edition of The Transmigration of Timothy Archer, and again, it's a glanced UK edition. I'm not sure what year this came out, but Victor Glance, 1982. Okay, printed in Great Britain. This book here is in near fine condition, I'd say. Near fine, or VG plus. Okay, there's all these little shades. Okay, book dealers want to sort of try and get the most out of yours that they possibly can, so they not just VG, which means they can charge $50. It's VG plus. Well, we'll make it 60. So, but what's interesting about this particular edition is, as you can see here, it has a blue cover. Okay, and I understand. Yeah.
Actually, I bought this book because it was quite interesting, and you see Bill smiling. But I bought actually a copy of this book one day and put it on my shelf and didn't look at it again. And a few years later, I saw it again in a bookstore, and I forgot that I had it, and I bought it again. So I said, okay, I'm going to sell one. And then I removed the dust jacket of the book, and it turns out that the first book I had had a red cover. A red jacket, which is very intriguing because the book has a blue red cover, and it's kind of hard to understand why someone would actually rebound a book that's already hardcover to make it a different color. But Bill, who is sitting there, when he heard that, he searched on the internet and he could find another one with a red cover that came from Australia. So sometimes you have to be careful when you're buying a book to at least remove the dust jacket, make sure that the cover is the right one. And we indicate the color of the cover in Precious Artifacts.
You can tell in this case of the rebound edition, when you open up the cover, you'll see on the red rebound edition, not this one, you'll see a strip of tape down there where they glued the papers to the boards, and the same in the back, so that indicates it's a rebound edition. Okay, does anyone have any books they'd like to evaluate or any questions?
Could you speak to signed copies?
Yes, we certainly do address signed copies in here. If we don't have any with us, there.
I mean, signed,
We have essays on your samples of perfectly good signed copies in here. And an interesting essay, I didn't write this, I just edited it. Henri and a collector called Paul Martin. I don't know if Paul Martin is here. Wrote this essay, okay. I don't have any signed.
Do you have specific questions?
Just how that affects the cost and the value and the...
Yeah, it definitely brings the price up, and so in general I would say paperback in good condition with signature may fetch $200, and then And then, of course, it depends on the value of the book itself, if it didn't have a signature. So if
And
it's
the health of the author.
yeah. So if you have the first edition of Do Android Dream of Electricity was sold for $100,000. But in general, I would say it's around $20,000 a hardcover signed edition of Philip K. And some people are specialized in collecting those books. There's always a risk that you're going to get a fake signature. And many of the books that are sold, if not all that are sold on eBay, are actually fake. So I will not buy one on eBay, only from your trusted bookseller. And we have a few examples of signatures here that you can use as a comparison. And it's fairly easy. In general, most of the time, it's fairly easy to see that it's a fake signature. But sometimes it takes some work to figure it out. And Paul Martin told me that if you cannot figure out that it's a fake, it's as good as a real one. So
You see, it's pretty easy to forward.
yeah.
It's not complicated signature.
Actually, no, it's not that easy. I think.
Do you think that there might someday be a market for facsimile editions of some of those looking like they originally looked, except on non-yellowing paper? And of course, you couldn't sell them as collectibles, not for a few hundred years maybe.
There are facsimile dust jackets currently available and
Yeah.
printed.
Yeah.
So if you had World of Chance there and only had the book without the dust jacket, you could get a facsimile dust jacket made.
Yeah, I've
And
seen that.
I haven't seen them to know how good they are if somebody wanted to
I
pull
did
something
know
over
with
your
the,
eyes.
with the color Xerox on a book that I wanted to have a dust jacket for, that a friend of mine had a dust jacket, and once you put it in a broad art, I mean, if you don't really care what it looks like, I mean, you just want it aesthetically pleasing. If you try to pass it off as, genuine, but if you just want it to look on the shelf,
Paper stuff.
So we have to make books.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, someone suggested that we make a coffee table book out of precious artifacts.
Yeah, it would be cool because, these images, because everybody worries about copyright, okay, and we do too. But we have so many images in here, there's an old saying that if you rip somebody off, it's plagiarism, but if you rip a million people off, it's research.
But is that considered fair use?
Beg your pardon?
Is that considered fair, I mean, isn't that considered
I
fair
consider
use?
it
As
You haven't been contacted yet? By
Not yet.
Nobody said nothing, I consider this fair use, for sure, because we've added value, you see what I'm saying? Not for every image in here, we've added not only a bibliographic reference, but it's accompanied by all these other images. So we've added a lot of value to each image, okay, by its accompanying associated images and everything. I have no problem with copyright on this. I'm not sure as a lawyer in here would say we would.
We had the permission to reproduce the Greg Press frontispiece by Hannah Shapiro, who is the artist. That's the only authorization we requested and get.
You have a question?
Yeah.
Do you also collect his digest and 3 pulp appearances, and if so, is there a second volume that works?
Yes, actually, David has started to work on the short stories, which will feature all the pulp edition of his magazine containing his stories. So we're going to have a complete short story bibliography in a separate volume.
Yeah.
Well, since you do consider it a bibliography, I was wondering why the short story collections don't list which short stories are collected in the particular volumes. I mean, like every other, like whenever I collect bibliographies,
Yeah.
so when I see bibliographies that are like of short story collections, or they are part of the deal aside from the pictures, you get the contents listed.
Yeah.
And in fact, some of them are even this detailed that'll tell you how many pages are like blank before you get to the title page, and then, printing history,
Yeah.
and how it should actually look. So, if there's a dedication page that hasn't been ripped out, feed
yeah.
an index library copy or something.
That will be, part of the short story bibliography.
Yeah, and the short story, the count of short stories is difficult. I pick 125. This is 140 pages right here. We're already sorry about that. This one.
But are you limited to like certain, to signatures in what kind of print-on-demand book, or can you put as many pages in as you want, or do they have to be like multiples of 60?
You can put as many as you want, but yeah, it gets more expensive.
So this is 140 pages. Already in rough, the short stories is 150. We've have not yet even had the essays or the afterword or anything really. So it's going to be over 200 pages in the short story bibliography. Our goal eventually is to produce bibliographies in all the major languages of the world. After we get done with the short stories, which will probably be sometime early next year, we were anxious to get onto the French edition of the novel. We may well incorporate some of those short stories, the French novels and short stories, in the same bibliography. I'm not sure yet. But but on is French, and we want to get to the French one because the French are big fans of politics, as we all know. And why not? Because that's somewhere around. And when we get done with French, we'll move on to the German, the Italian. Like I said in the other room, I have rough bibliographic data in 26 languages, all the way out to Israel. I don't understand a word of Israeli, but I can get online and see that this word symbol means book. You know what I'm saying? And we figure it out from there. And our goal again is to not just produce bibliography, but to include useful essays by local authorities in different countries around the world on the publishing conditions and histories and people influential in the science fiction field in that particular country, and filter it all through a Philip K. Dick filter, so that we will, when we get done, which we probably never will finish, but at least as we go, and we will translate everything in English, so they will be bilingual. So we will have a series of volumes that explain, describe different traditions in different countries, because every country is different. In France, they name their book collections after famous writers, somebody's collection. Similarly, I believe in Italy, they have the Goldman collection or whatever. But if you buy a Philip Dick book in Spanish in Mexico, the chances are it's probably printed in Argentina or Madrid. They do not have as far as I understand, a domestic publishing industry of Philip K. Dick in Mexico. So every country has its own traditions, its own way of doing things. And this is what we want to explore. And when we get done, as I said, we will have a series of bibliographies with authoritative essays by experts in that particular country. It covers many countries, and it's just going to be, Philip K. Dick has taken over the world. Oh, yes. Sure.
I'm wondering if you have a sense of, on the story publications, how many cover images were dedicated to the stories of the 100+ stories?
Do you mean in the collected stories?
No, yes.
No, in the magazine.
Cover featured on the magazine.
On the magazine? Oh, how many?
Yeah.
We haven't, didn't think it
Was the question, if it's a pulp, a science fiction digest with a Dick appearance, how many had his story as the cover story? Relatively few.
Oh, no.
Only a few.
Well, I can maybe think 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's a small number.
Okay, well, I'm going to share this book to you because this is obviously a World of Chance, which is the British title of Solar Lottery. Now, look, this is Rich and Cowan Publishers. I've yet to open up this book to see if it is a science fiction book club edition of 1957 or the first edition of 1955. So let's open it up. So 1956. So there's no easy way to tell if this is a book club edition unless you have a copy of our book.
Different cover art.
It looks like a book club edition. A book club edition generally has ragged edges, nothing, it's all done cheap, okay? So I would guess this is a book club.
Yeah, the book club has different cover art.
Who took care of science fiction books?
So this is nice because it has a really nice plastic cover on it. Covering it up, I guess they call this, what do they call this? Broad art.
Mylar.
And it's bullet.
The Bindle of Speed on page 50.
You're not, and this is the first edition. Okay, so this is,
What do you want to know
the
about?
condition of this book is, as to this book's particular worth, I'm not an expert on this particular book, but it says certainly a couple $100. Right? $400?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Who's the expert?
You're the expert.
He's testing it.
I'd say.
You know, because it is what it is, but it's in the condition that it is. I'd say ballpark, give or take 500.
Yeah,
If it
500.
was really a better copy, it's more like 2 to 3 grand.
So this first edition of Roller Chance, UK, Pitch and Cow in 1956, in this kind of beat up condition, it's a $500 book. Okay? Let's take a look at this. Looks like a first edition of Ubit. Now Ubit is a special case because they produced a hardcover and a science fiction book club edition with exactly the same cover. It's just a set for each year. Whether you look and see what it says, book club edition on the inside does.
I'm sorry, I'm not gonna drop that.
With the scatological word in there, I mean, that is true. If word in there, that is true.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, now Doubleday on all editions, including the first editions and the science fiction book club editions, have what we call secret codes written in there. So on a certain page in all of their editions, they will have, what page was that again?
202.
On page 202, there should be a secret code K10 for the first edition. The science fiction book club edition would have a different code. Page 202.
Wouldn't the book club edition also not have a price on it? Wouldn't the book club edition also not have a price on the jacket?
That's possible, maybe.
The wrong copy.
So, this is indeed a true first edition of Ubik with the code K10 on page 202. Now this is a valuable edition. Again, I can't afford books like this, but this is a top-line Philip K. Dick collectible right here. And as you can see, this book is in Bedlam VG condition. I would call it near fine. This is a top collectible. If you had to copy this book, you'd probably be talking $800,000. What? Is that good? But it's certainly a book worth many hundreds of dollars.
So here's some, that's actually an ex-library copy. If you check the boards, you can see where the tape remnants are, and it had replaced end papers. Nicely done, but nonetheless replaced.